Ever felt overwhelmed by the sheer number of options available to you? That's what we're diving into today, the fascinating concept known as the paradox of choice. It's a curious notion, isn't it? The idea that an abundance of options, instead of giving us freedom and happiness, often leads to stress and anxiety. Too much choice can be daunting, leaving us paralyzed, unable to make a decision. Now, this isn't just a random thought. It's a theory proposed by none other than Barry Schwartz, a prominent psychologist, in his intriguing book titled The Paradox of Choice: Why More is Less. Schwartz explores how our modern society, with its endless array of choices, can sometimes do more harm than good. So how does Schwartz explain this paradox? Let's delve deeper into his argument. Schwartz's argument revolves around two types of decision-makers: maximizers and satisficers. First, let's take a look at the maximizers. These individuals are the perfectionists of decision-making. They analyze every possible option with meticulous detail, tirelessly seeking the absolute best choice. Whether it's buying a new car or choosing a restaurant for dinner, maximizers strive to make the optimal decision at all costs. On the other side of the spectrum, we have the satisficers. Unlike the maximizers, satisficers are content with good enough. They don't feel the need to investigate every single option. Instead, they make their decision once they find a choice that meets their criteria or standards. They're the ones who would happily pick the first restaurant that fits their taste and budget, without worrying about whether there might be a better one out there. According to Schwartz, the abundance of choices we have today often leads maximizers into a pit of dissatisfaction. With so many options, they can't help but wonder if there could have been a better choice. They're constantly plagued by the fear of missing out on something better. This is where the paradox of choice kicks in. More choices don't necessarily lead to more satisfaction. In fact, it often leads to the opposite. But the paradox of choice is not just about the types of decision makers, it involves a lot more. Schwartz further explains the paradox of choice through the concept of opportunity costs. This concept refers to the potential benefits an individual misses out on when choosing one alternative over another. Now let's dive deeper into this idea. When we're presented with a multitude of options, our awareness of these opportunity costs increases. Why so? Well, it's because with every decision we make, we're constantly reminded of the alternatives we had to give up. Let's imagine you're at a restaurant with a 10-page menu. You decide to order the pasta, but you can't help but wonder about the steak, the sushi, or the vegan platter you didn't choose. This leads to a feeling of loss, a sense of regret. The more options we have, the more we are prone to feel this regret, as we're constantly aware of the opportunities we missed. This constant awareness and the regret that follows can lead to dissatisfaction. We second-guess our choices, wondering if we could have made a better one. This dissatisfaction can spiral into stress and, in severe cases, even depression. In this context, the abundance of choice doesn't free us. It paralyzes us. It turns the joy of choosing into a burden. This is the paradox of choice that Schwartz talks about. So, are more choices really a blessing or a curse? Let's summarize Schwartz's arguments. Schwartz's argument on the paradox of choice makes us rethink our perception of freedom and happiness. He introduces us to two types of decision-makers: maximizers, who agonize over making the absolute best choice, and satisficers, content with merely good enough. Maximizers, Schwartz argues, often drown in the sea of endless possibilities, their satisfaction constantly undermined by the nagging feeling of missed opportunities. This concept dovetails with the economic principle of opportunity costs. Every choice we make bears the weight of alternatives forgone, adding to the stress of decision-making. The paradox of choice is that while we believe more options equate to more freedom and greater happiness, the reality is often the contrary. A plethora of choices can lead us down a path of stress, dissatisfaction, and regret. So the next time you feel overwhelmed by choices, remember Schwartz's paradox of choice. Sometimes, less is indeed more.